Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. It's Hair to Stay by Ms.E. And in this video, I'm going to show you how I created this wig from beginning to end. It is very detailed, and if you're interested in seeing how I made this video and also how I blow dried and styled this wig, keep watching. So right now what I'm doing is I am putting on my 5x5 lace closure, and I'm making sure that the closure is centered. And as I pull it down over the cap, I am going to make sure that the closure is about a ½ inch away from the edge of the cap. You want it to be a ½ inch or more away from the cap. So right now I am going to sew on my closure. I have already bleached the knots. As you saw earlier, I did have a seam ripper. You want to make sure you have one available, so just in case you have to take out some stitches or take some tracks out, you have your seam ripper ready. And the way I like to put on my closures is to start from either side, and in this case I'm starting from the left side, and I'm going to sew all the way to the middle. And then I'm going to go on the other side, and I'm going to go all the way up from this side to the middle as well. Now this is one of my favorite techniques because it is going to assure that my closure lays nice and flat and even. It helps to keep the closure balanced. So this is one of my favorite techniques. And I'm just using a regular sewing technique. I'm not doing anything special. I did not do a lock stitch on this one. Sometimes I do, but it just all depends on how I feel. It really doesn't matter, just as long as your stitching is secure. So right here I am getting ready to make my guidelines, and right now I'm starting off by making the guideline for the track that is going to be the closest to my closure. This is the guideline that is going to, where I'm going to lay the track that is closest to the closure. I like to make my guidelines about a ½ inch apart. A lot of times most people like to make theirs about 1 inch apart, but I like to get the most amount of hair on my cap, so I do about a ½ inch apart, and that always works for me. But it's up to you, and it also depends on the density of the hair. It depends on whether you're going to do a short wig or a long wig, and how many guidelines you actually need. I try to stay within the range of about 12 to 14 lines, and that actually works. I don't run out of hair, and it's a good pattern and a good a guideline method that works. There's also a lot of different methods and different guidelines you can make. This one that you're going to see here is my go-to guideline technique, because it keeps me from making a lot of mistakes as I'm going along. So it has proven to be the best guideline technique for me. And there you have it. This is the go-to pattern for my guidelines. You can use this pattern, as I said before, for long wigs as well as short wigs. So right here, I am doubling my tracks. I always double my tracks. I don't always use double tracks throughout the whole entire cap. It just depends, as I said, on the density of the hair that I'm using. I may split the tracks and just do single, but at this time, I'm going to start off with doubling my tracks. And you want to make sure that when you start sewing, you want to backstitch when you start, and you want to backstitch when you end. And that's going to just secure your tracks and make sure the thread does not come apart. And this is what it looks like when you double your tracks. Now what I'm going to do here is basically just match up my tracks to the lines, to the guidelines that I've sewn. It's pretty self-explanatory, but I must let you know that I did lose some footage here, so you're not going to see the whole entire process, but just follow your guidelines, add your hair to your tracks, and follow your guidelines. Okay, so it's complete, sewing on the tracks to the cap, and now I am hand stitching the last track that is nearest to my closure, as I showed you earlier. I always hand stitch this one here because it just gives me, it's easier to do, because when you've got a lot of hair on the wig, it's just kind of hard to take it through the sewing machine. But what I do is I do it on my hand just to secure it, and then I go over it with the sewing machine. So I hand stitch this piece first, and then I take it through the sewing machine just to make sure that it's secure. So I'm going to show you my plucking technique. It's very simple. I don't do anything really special. I do light plucking, always light plucking, because I don't like a lot of plucking on this area. What I'm doing is just basically removing the bulk and the line of demarcation so that it looks natural. And I would advise you to try on your wig and pluck it to your preference. If you put it on and you think you need more to make it look natural, then go ahead and do it as many times as you need to do that. And as you can see, I'm going from left to right, right to left, making sure that I am not plucking the same area over and over again, because that will lead to bald spots. But I'm just going back and forth up and down the hairline to remove the bulk. And then I'll go on the outside of the hairline and do the same thing as well. As you can see, the hairline is softening up a bit, removing that hard line there so that it looks nice and natural. And I'm not a baby hair person, so I don't do baby hairs. I just do a little bit of wispies around the hairline to make it look nice and natural, and that's about it. I'm going to use heat protectant, and I'm going to show you how I blow dry my hair. Now, before you blow dry the hair, you do want to make sure that it air dries a little bit. You don't want it to be sopping wet, because it's just going to make you, use a lot of time and energy to dry the hair. So let it air dry for a little bit, and then you want to proceed with a flat brush. If you're going to wear the hair flat, you should use a flat brush to dry the hair. You also want to use a concentrator nozzle, which mine fell off during the process. but the concentrator nozzle just helps you to make sure that the air is concentrated in a certain direction. You don't want the hair to blow all over the head, because if it's blowing every which way, then you're going to have frizzy hair and the hair is not going to be nice and sleek. So make sure that the air is going in a downward direction, in the direction that the hair grows. And that's going to assure that you're going to have a smooth, sleek finish. You want to make sure that the hair is completely dry when you're done, because you don't want the hair to frizz up or to revert if the hair is not completely dry. And right now I am cutting away my lace. I'm using a zigzag motion. And again, this is to make sure that the hairline looks natural. I'm going to follow with a flat iron, and that's pretty simple. I think most people know how to do a flat iron, so I'm using my comb and my flat iron. This is also going to ensure that the hair is nice and straight and sleek. If you follow these simple techniques, you are sure to have hair that is flowy and weightless. And I don't use a lot of product because I don't want to weigh the hair down. So right here I'm going to use a technique that's that I've tried that I really like. It is a silicone strips. These strips, you can find them at your local drugstore actually. They are used to, they're found in the Band-Aid section. They're used to cover up your scars. But this technique works really good. Instead of using the bald cap method, it is going to give you that part that is going to look like a real scalp. Yes, I really love this technique because it gives you that real scalp look when you apply it to the part. And it comes in different colors. Use the color of your choice that matches your skin. And as you can see here, I am using my pressing comb to just make this area really nice and flat. And you can see how that part is really pronounced and how that part really looks like a natural scalp. So that's it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have not already, please like, subscribe, share, and leave a comment below, and I'll see you next time.